Hi everyone. So I'm doing my book review assignment, and the book that I chose to talk about was In Tango Makes Three because of how much of a sensitive issue that it is for being a children's book. So um, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the authors of this book are Justin Richardson and Peter Parnell, and it is illustrated by Henry Cole. So the publisher is Simon and Schuster, which their original publishing date was in 2005. However, one of the smaller companies within Simon and Schuster called Little Simon, which is the children's book publishing portion of that, they copyrighted it in 2015. So if you're not familiar with this book is it's based on a true story. And as you can see, there's three penguins. So these two penguins, their names are Roy and Silo. So Roy and Silo are a couple, and they are both male penguins. Throughout the book, at the beginning of the book, they have been trying to have a baby penguin. They've been trying so hard to lay an egg, but they just can't do it because it's not possible for them to lay their own eggs between the two of them. So throughout the story, it goes along, and the penguin couples around them that are the male and female penguin couples, they are laying eggs, and their penguin chicks are hatching, and they're becoming parents. And so Roy and Silo are seeing that. So what they ended up doing was they ended up getting a rock, and they thought that the rock was an egg. And so they were really, really good to the rock that they thought was an egg. They didn't leave it alone. They were keeping it warm. They took turns going and getting food for one another. But unfortunately, once the egg never hatched, they became really sad, to the point where the zookeeper noticed that Roy and Silo were very upset that they didn't have a penguin chick. So the zookeeper actually ended up finding an egg that was abandoned by another penguin couple at the Central Park Zoo. And that's where they live. So the zookeeper went ahead and he gave Roy and Silo that penguin egg. So ultimately, Roy and Silo took really good care of this egg, and then eventually one day the egg hatched, and that's how we got the little penguin, and the little penguin's name is Tango. After the penguin hatched, the book just goes on to talk about how Roy and Silo were with their new child, Tango, and how they took care of Tango and loved it just as much as the other penguin couples did for their penguins. So that's just a little summary about what this book is about. So the subject or the theme that I really think is important in this book is about family dynamics. And that's where the sensitive issue comes in at, is because in society, our norm, like the societal norm of families, is it's a mom and a dad. However, this book, it's two dads rather than the mom and the dad. So that's a very sensitive issue. So my intended audience for this book would be 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. However, I do think that with the pictures and just like the words on the pages and that type of thing, that 4-year-olds might not be able to sit through it and fully understand that type of thing. But I definitely think 5 and 6-year-olds it would work good for. So again, I picked this book because families are made up of different people. And so some people have a mom and a dad, some people have a dad and a dad, some people have a mom and a mom, other people have a grandma and a grandpa, that type of thing, that act as their parents. And so our society, it's not traditional. It's not traditional anymore for it to be a mom and a dad. So we have all those different combinations of parents in a child's life. This book actually has been on the banned book list so many times, and so there's a lot of schools and even countries that do not allow this book to be anywhere in like the K-12 education and any early childhood rooms. As you can tell, this book did receive the ASPCA, the Henry Berg Children's Book Award, because of it. Not because it's on the banned book list, but just because of the topic, the theme, the whole storyline. So I would use this book with young children in a lesson plan that talks about the family dynamics and how some families are different than different than others. I would also use this to show the children that come from those kind of families, like the families that don't have a mom and a dad, that have the two moms or the two dad household, that it's okay and everyone's family is different. There's not a single person that has the same family dynamic, regardless. And I would also use this to expose children to diversity because a lot of times in like especially early childhood, but even the younger grades in elementary school, children aren't exposed to the um, like diverse populations and diverse kind of topics. And so I would also use this by reading the book, talking about it, and I would also be able to create different activities in my classroom that's based around families and just that family dynamic. So, again, this is my book review assignment on the sensitive issue, and it is called And Tango Makes Three. It is based on a true story, happened right at the Central Park Zoo in New York, and it is amazing. So, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend getting it and reading it because it's awesome.